Samantha Richardson. I'm General Manager here at Aura of Lights, and it is an absolute delight to be with you all today, and thank you for joining this session. This session, as you know, forms part of your CPD, so I will keep it practical and I will keep it as relevant as I can to what you're seeing and experiencing on your day-to-day. I'll be taking you through a focused session on the Aura Flight service offering and the cutting-edge technology that makes our memorial and space scattering work possible. So I've put together a presentation that runs for around 40 minutes, and then I will, after that, open the floor for questions at the end. If I could ask that you hold on to any questions that you might have until then, it'll just really help keep the things move smoothly, and then it means I'll be able to stop sharing the presentation and be able to get a full view of everybody that's asking, so I can speak to you face to face that way. Okay, so a little bit about us. Here at Aura Flights, we have been conducting high altitude balloon launches into the stratosphere since 2017. We scatter the passengers' ashes in space, providing unique and beautiful memorials for families and friends of loved ones from all over the world. To ensure a perfect result every time, we're supported by the world leaders in near space flight, who are indeed our parent company, and they are called Sent into Space. So you can rest assured that your clients' ashes are in the safest of hands. For those who are still curious about what we do and may not know, they say a picture paints 1,000 words. So what I would like to do is to help you experience the spaceborne ashes scattering a little bit more, is to see it in action via a short video. So let me just go ahead. There, so that gives you a little bit of an image glimpse about what we do. It goes without saying that a space scattering can provide a unique and profound memorial, especially for those perhaps with a particular passion for flight, even for science fiction, for travel, for voyaging, for hiking, just for being in the outdoors, for any reason whatsoever. Or maybe the intended passenger had an adventurous spirit. The idea of scattering ashes in space may also be appealing to those who requested or would have preferred not to have a specific sacred or physical memorial site here on Earth. Whatever the passenger's background or personal interests, a space flight can reflect the unique essence of their life in a way that feels limitless. It could be unbound by geography, it could be unbound by tradition, even religion. And I'll right out there, right off the bat, I just want to let everybody know, you may already know this, but the price of our single memorial launch is £3,950. We do also offer a launch for beloved couples. And when a couple spend their lives together in a happy partnership, it seems only fitting that they remain together after they pass away. And that's why we offer a unique memorial service that accommodates two passengers by commingling their ashes, allowing them to take a breathtaking final journey together and remain forever entwined as they were in life. For the double memorial launch, we do offer a 25% reduction for the second passenger. And of course, humans aren't the only creatures that deserve a spectacular celebration of life after they pass away, which is why here at Aura Flights, a space memorial service is also offered and available for our beautiful furry friends, providing a beautiful memorial service in space for clients' beloved pets to help keep their memory alive. As well as offering an independent launch for a beloved pet, we do have many passengers who also choose to include a small portion of their pet's ashes, or indeed the full complement of the pet's ashes, in their own future flight, which they do request that the ashes are commingled so that they can embark on their adventure together. So bringing the ashes into our care. For clients based in the UK, we offer two convenient ways to bring the loved one's ashes into our care. Firstly, if the family would prefer to do so, they're quite welcome to deliver the ashes personally to our office in Sheffield. We will be honoured to receive them, to see them. It's always a pleasure for myself and my team to chat with the family members, to learn more about the passenger story, their history, what brought them to us, and just to basically share any stories over a cup of tea or coffee. We realise that often dealing with logistics can be an extremely stressful undertaking, especially when going through the trauma of losing a loved one. So our secondary option, we do offer for a nominal additional fee of £150. We can arrange for our trusted courier to collect the ashes from wherever they are resting in the UK and bring them into our care. So there's two options there. We do also have options for our international clients. Although all of our launches are conducted from our dedicated launch sites in and around the Sheffield area, we do accept ashes from families worldwide. And we regularly conduct launches for international passengers. Getting the ashes into our care can be a little bit more complicated. The clients travelling from abroad, we often find that the most straightforward and cost-effective option is for a family member to carry the ashes on a commercial flight as hand luggage. And once in England, they can defer to one of the options that we just mentioned. The ashes can be delivered in person directly to our office, which is, as we've mentioned before, a perfect chance for the family to meet us, to tour the workshop, have a look firsthand at the care and attention that we put into each of our launches. Or, of course, we have the option again of our trusted courier who will be able to collect the ashes direct from the airport. Both of those options work seamlessly because we do use them regularly. So, a launch window, what is that, I may hear you say? Let me go ahead and explain that a little bit more for you. So, our ability to launch on any given day is subject to the weather conditions on the ground and in the stratosphere. So we have to be flexible in how we schedule our launches. That's why basically we have to assign a 4-week launch window to each passenger's flight. So in the week prior to the start of that launch window, we will begin monitoring the conditions and we'll let the customer know the provisional launch date as soon as we are confident in the predictions. We aim to give the client at least 3 days notice of this, but because we are reliant on uncertain factors, we occasionally have to change this within 24 hours or even 12 hours of the scheduled launch because of factors that are outside of our control. Some of these factors might be an unexpected storm, it could be instructions from the Civil Aviation Authority, or it could be instructions from the Air Force. This does mean, however, that we can't accommodate customers who would want to attend the launch event in person. We have found the uncertainty and challenge of traveling and rearranging their lives can create a lot of unnecessary stress for those who are already struggling with grief. With launches, while launches cannot be attended in person, our absolute priority is to create a beautiful and meaningful final journey for the passenger, ensuring that the ever-changing stratospheric conditions enhance rather than detract from this beautiful moment. So that's the launch window. Anybody that has any more questions on that, I will be happy to answer that towards the end of the presentation. So a little bit more about our scatter vessel. Our engineering team has developed this incredible intelligent scatter vessel, and it has all sorts of technology on board to ensure a safe flight and a successful scattering of our passengers' ashes. Firstly, the flight computer and communication systems allow us to track the vessel throughout its entire flight, as well as ensuring that all systems are working as they should be. Our patented altitude-triggered scatter mechanism will automatically release the ashes once the craft reaches 100,000 feet, which is approximately 30 kilometers into the stratosphere. However, we do have incorporated and built in safeguards that will prevent the ashes from being released if we find that the stratospheric conditions aren't suitable. Now, the vessel incorporates multiple state-of-the-art cameras, as you can see there on the image, and this is to capture the scatter in space in ultra-high definition, allowing us to curate a breathtaking memorial video for friends and family of the passenger to watch after the launch event. Okay, so a little bit about the passenger journey. So, with the ashes safely in our care, the passenger's voyage begins by transferring their ashes into our scatter vessel to keep them secure throughout the journey into space. The vessel is then attached to an enormous high-altitude balloon that's filled with lighter-than-air gas, giving it the lift force needed to transport the vessel through the atmosphere and into the upper stratosphere. Now, once at 100,000 feet above the Earth's surface, where, by the way, the environment is gloriously serene, the vessel will open to release the ashes into space in a gentle cascade, with the dedicated cameras capturing the moment for family and friends. As soon as the passenger's ashes are released, they will be swept up into the arms of the stratospheric winds, where they then gently are transported on an epic final journey around the planet. Over the next 3 to 6 months, they will traverse the globe many, many times over, gradually spreading out until their presence covers the entire planet. Little by little, the ashes will then descend into the lower portions of the atmosphere, where each particle will act as a nucleation point for precipitation, allowing passengers to reach their final resting place as raindrops and snowflakes. Once the elements of our service, one of the elements of our service that we are really, really proud of, and I hope that you will all feel excited to share with families as well, is the way we personalize what we deliver after every launch. We know that every person's story is unique, absolutely, and we want their journey to feel just as special, which is why we create one-of-a-kind keepsakes that capture the spirit of the launch. And that ranges from stunning photos and families that the families can treasure, to bespoke certificates, and thoughtfully curated mementos. It's these personal touches that really set this experience apart, giving families something meaningful as well as tangible to hold on to after they celebrate the life and wishes of their loved one. So what are these items? Let me just go ahead and tell you what they are. Essentially, post-launch, what the family members will receive are the following. They will receive a flight video. The video is set to a music track of their loved one's choosing. They will receive a digital memorial page, which is housed on our website, and that is for interactive support, no matter where the family and friends are located around the world. We offer a digital flight certificate. We also offer a flight data certificate, which essentially, this was by popular demand actually, which is essentially a little bit like the black box data. Peak scatter altitude, approximate scatter coordinates, temperatures, etc. We also, of course, provide the completed passenger video, which has been stitched together utilizing footage from the flight. We also provide a custom passenger frame with the image from the flight. As you can see on the scatter vessel on the screen, there is an image of, that is where the image of this particular one isn't one of our passengers, but that is where the passenger's image will sit if the family wishes to provide one. But this image goes on the flight and is recovered by our launch team. We will then remove that image and enclose it in a passenger frame, which is then engraved with the flight details. And that is a tangible, tactile keepsake to provide to the family, as well as all the digital deliverables as well. And we will also provide a digital and a printed image from that stunning moment of the scatter at the top of the flight. Okay, a very important topic to all of us. Here at Aura Flights, we pride ourselves on the sustainability of our launch process, and we employ an ethos of leaving space, the Earth and its atmosphere exactly how we found it. In practice, what does this mean? This means using recyclable, renewable, reusable, and biodegradable consumables wherever possible. We exclusively use renewable hydrogen as our lifting gas. So that's the gas that goes in the stratospheric balloon. So we are not reliant on helium. Helium is not only extremely energy intensive to produce, but it's also in short supply, and it is desperately needed for use in various medical applications. So we absolutely don't want to deplete their stores. The balloons that we use are designed to burst into long strips from the top down towards the neck, allowing the majority of debris to remain attached to the scatter vessel during its descent. As you can see on the image there, you can see all of the items are attached to the flight train, which connects the balloon to the launch craft at the bottom. And all of these items are recovered once the craft returns to Earth. The balloons are also made of undyed, very, very fine natural latex, meaning that any small pieces that may break away after the burst are biodegradable, and they will biodegrade at the rate of an oak leaf. If a piece of the balloon that does by chance reach its way all the way back down to the ground and is ingested by an animal, a small animal, it will just pass through the body as any other item would, with no hazard or harm. Okay. Any questions on that? By all means, I will answer further a little bit later. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of some of our passenger stories, we do have so many conversations, as I'm sure all of you do. We speak with the passengers' families every single day. And We indeed speak to some of our passengers who contact us before their flight while they're arranging their own flight for them for when their time comes. And they're all prepared to go on their ultimate final adventure. We do enjoy learning more about the history and hearing the stories from the family members. We've had passengers of all ages, ranging from the very, very young, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, all the way up to the 90s, hundreds, and every age in between. And many, many stories stick with us, as I'm sure is the same with all of you. We once had a family talk to us who'd lost both of their sons in the most tragic event. The sons were in their early 20s, and they had kept their son's ashes with them for over 11 years until they found Aura Flights. They reached out to us and they said straight away, this is exactly what we want for our sons. We've held onto their ashes all this time and haven't been able to find what we'd been looking for. That was an exact quote from the family, from the mother of the family. It was a tender and happy experience for us, just being able to work hand in hand with this family and support them on their journey to finally finding peace and closure. We were also able to provide a launch for a wonderful young girl who'd been ill most of her life and had been unable to travel, but she loved space and everything to do with space. And when her mother found us, she said, this is exactly what my daughter would have wanted. So we worked hand in hand with her family to send her 11-year-old daughter on a truly special final journey, which was incredibly heartwarming for us to be part of. We've also had many conversations, as I said earlier, with future passengers who know their time is near, very near, and have decided to pre-book a flight with us, meaning, you know, it is an honor for us to be able to speak with our passengers before they take their flight. It does somehow feel wrong to smile about this, but very often our clients that do contact us, they say, I'm so excited about this, I can't wait to start my journey. And those are their exact words. So it is strangely wonderful to hear for them to express such joy and excitement at the thought of their journey, but, you know, heartwarming nonetheless. So that's just a few of the stories. I'd now like to just share a few of our passenger stories to give you an idea of their backgrounds, some of the motivations behind their space scattering, and the family's reactions to the memorial videos. We do receive inquiries from all backgrounds, from all hobbies, from all industries, from all work industries, whether it be engineers, pilots, whether they are actors, chefs, whether they, you know, they're an office worker or a school teacher, whether they are a singer or they are an actor. We have inquiries from every background, but these are just some of the background stories that I would just like to share with you today. The first, who you can see on the screen, is Sean Kevin James Marshall, and he's a father of 3, and he was a keen sci-fi enthusiast. Sean was born in Zimbabwe in 1973, and he enjoyed a happy childhood there and grew up to be a fantastic athlete, going on to represent his country in international running events. He came to the UK in the 80s and met Annette during a college experience week. They dated for a while before going their separate ways, but after rekindling their romance some 13 years later, they married and raised 3 sons from previous relationships together. Sean had a deep affinity for all things sci-fi and space related, and once his health began to wane in 2019 due to pancreas issues, he'd often express his desire to have his ashes scattered in space. After his passing, Annette, his wife, set up a Just Giving page, which, thanks to the generosity of friends and family, raised enough money to register Sean for a spaceborne memorial with us here at Aura Flights. And this is what Annette explained on how when she and the family reacted to the memorial video. And these are her words. When I first viewed the launch video, I was taken aback by the immense feeling of it being so right for Sean in every way. The unique presentation and image clarity ensured that we could see every detail, and the music chosen by my youngest son added a uniquely personal touch to the memorial. It was nothing short of heartwarming to be able to grant Sean's wish of being sent into space, and what an outstanding send-off it was, a feeling shared by all who knew him. And another passenger here we have Craig Garnett. As you can see from the image, Craig was a pilot. He developed a deep love for space travel as a child after watching the first moon landing at the tender age of 7. This passion only grew as the years went by, with Craig gleefully tuning into endless space documentaries, watching rocket launches online, and even traveling to see them in person whenever he got the chance. More than anything, though, Craig's true calling was being a father, spending every weekend doting on his daughter. Although the relationship between Craig and Paige's mother didn't survive, he found love again with his second wife, Donna, before sadly passing away at the age of 62. Now, Donna explained why she chose a space scattering to honour the memory of her beloved husband. She says, Craig was no stranger to flying in one form or another. Having enjoyed hang gliding, parachuting, and hot air ballooning in the past, he often mentioned that he had liked to have been a space tourist. Maybe not yet. Since he didn't get a chance to fulfill his dream whilst he was alive, I was determined to arrange a space flight as his final adventure. She also explained how the family reacted to the scatter footage when they saw the video. Seeing the video of Craig's final journey was an extremely emotional moment for us all, but the scatter was incredibly beautiful to watch. It was also wonderful to be able to share the video with loved ones who would not have been able to attend a traditional ash scattering ceremony. Above all, it made us feel happy and proud that we'd enabled him to have his final send-off the way he'd always dreamed of. And the final story for today is a father and son, Derek and Jonathan Manford-Wally. They underwent a joint scattering. Derek displayed a keen interest in all things aviation throughout his childhood, culminating in him joining the Royal Air Force Air Cadets and undertaking training to obtain a pilot's license. Derek and his wife Karen went on to become proud parents of sons Alexander, Jonathan, and Stefan. And although the marriage sadly didn't work, Derek found love again with fiancée Nida before passing away at the age of 61. Derek's son Jonathan developed a deep passion for music as he grew up and became a talented guitarist and singer. His interests also extended to aviation, and he was simultaneously studying for an aerospace engineering degree and training to be a pilot. Jonathan's life was tragically cut short at the age of 23, prompting the University of Central Lancashire to grant him a posthumous first-class honours degree and establish the Jonathan Manford-Wally Student Award. Karen explained the impotence behind the space scattering and the experience of watching the launch video. She said, "We were searching online for a suitable tribute that would honour Derek and Jonathan's shared passion for flying, and Aura Flights offered exactly the service we were looking for. Watching the launch was an incredibly emotional moment for us, and one that helped reinforce the decision we'd made to scatter Derek and Jonathan's ashes in space. The Aura Flights team were exceptionally supportive during this traumatic and difficult time, and the empathy shown to the family throughout the process was amazing. They are dearly missed, and our only comfort is that Derek and his beloved son are now together forever." So that just gives you a few ideas of some of the stories that have and their history behind reaching out to us and why they reached out to us, and a little bit of their journey. We do feel incredibly fortunate to partner with the Celebrant Circle, and we know that every member strives to deliver the highest standards of care and grieving, to care to grieving families. And you know, here at Aura Flights, I think it's really important to say that we are also committed to the same. Although brief, the presentation, I hope this has given you a clear sense of what an Auraflight's space launch involves and the journey each passenger experiences. As celebrants, you help families mark life's most personal moments in ways that truly reflect who their loved ones were. We've seen firsthand how the Celebrant Circle members are open to new ideas and approaches, exploring thoughtful ways to celebrate life and honour end-of-life wishes in ways that really do feel meaningful. Every passenger's journey is significant, it is personal, and it's rewarding to see how the Celebrant Circle works with partners who share a dedication to care and creativity, innovative and modern and meaningful ways to say goodbye. Well, welcome to the end of our presentation. I hope I haven't bamboozled you with too much information there. What you have my email and my telephone number there, so please do take note. But what I would like to do is, in just a couple of moments, I will stop sharing the presentation, and then what I would like is for anybody that does have any burning questions, please do go ahead and ask, and I will be delighted to go ahead and respond. So bear with me just 1 second.
Lovely, thank you. Just Darcy's just had to dash off, but she said thank you so much, Samantha. That was really interesting, great information to have. So thank you very much. So has anyone got any questions about what Auraflights do? Anything that presentation was excellent and covered so many things. So Karen is asking, do you want to unmute, Karen? You can ask.
Sorry, Sam, Samantha. I'm not sure if you prefer Sam or Samantha.
Either or works, absolutely fine.
You mentioned pets being included in the sprinkling of the ashes.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be at an additional cost? And so could you do a couple plus a little bit of a pet, or is it just one person and a pet?
Absolutely. It is dependent upon weight. So what we do find is free of charge, I do regularly allow our clients to include a proportionate amount of their pet's ashes within their single and personal flight, and they are mixed together and go on their flight together. Dependent upon the amount of ash, again, it's a call that I will make once we receive the weight, just because of the added expense in terms of the flight and the launch itself. If there is a decent amount of ash, it could just be a custom cost that I will look into at the time. We do have many clients that say, look, I've got 3 dogs. And so what we will do is I will incorporate that in one single vessel, and then they will be able to incorporate the 25% discount for the second passenger, which gives them that reduced amount. But again, it is dependent. We find for the most part that the passenger or the family do want to include just a proportionate amount, because they do have other ways in which they do want to memorialize the ashes.
Thank you.
Lovely, thank you, Karen. Tina, you've got your hand up.
Yes, please. Got a Misty Wood as well has got a raised hand.
That's Tina. Sorry,
I'm sorry.
She's incognito. She can't find. Hold on. Can you unmute, Tina? It's just like the big microphone button. If you press that. Or you can type your message in the. Oh, there you go.
There you go. I had to give myself permission. I was like, oh. Right. Okay. Yes. Sorry. That Misty is my email. So, and so it always comes up. And I think that I'm 2 people. So my question, you mentioned around the vessel returning to Earth. So you know, you obviously track it, so you know where it is. Is there an option that the vessel will find its way back to you to then give back to the family, or is it as you mentioned biodegradable, so you know it's landed?
We do, and thank you for that question, because it's a very good question. And there's a lot of technology goes into that side of the process. There is a lot goes on behind the scenes. We are scurrying and scurrying and scurrying, and we're making the customer journey, you know, just calm and pain-free, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes to conduct and facilitate these launches. So basically what we do is we have cutting-edge software that allows us to predict the flight path of every single one of our launches before we've even released the vessel into the sky. So we will know before we've released the vessel where its landing site will be once the ashes have been released. If that doesn't make sense, please just let me know, and I will repeat that. So essentially, we know where the landing site will be to within 100 meters. How do we do that? We have a platform that draws upon thousands and thousands of different weather systems, which allows us to predict and simulate the flight path. When the balloon goes up into the stratosphere, it can circle and spin and zigzag, and then it can travel for miles, or it can circle back and land not far away from the release location. More often than not, it's usually 3, 4, 5 hours away. So our launch team, because as I said before, the vessel has it's a very intelligent vessel, and it has lots of systems on board. It has computer systems, camera systems, GPS systems, telemetry systems, power systems. It's all sorts of stuff on there. Allows us to track the vessel. So our launch team is underneath it, catching the pings from the telemetry systems. So as it floats around in the stratosphere, our team are on the ground on recovery, following it. So they are always underneath it and ready to collect it from wherever it lands. However, why is it important for us to know where it lands prior to releasing the vessel? 2 reasons. One, Civil Aviation Authority permission compliance requires that we are in control of our vessel at all times. Secondly, we do not want the launch craft to touch down in a hazardous area. We don't want it to land in a body of water, because we've got the cameras on board and we want the footage back for our families so that we can create the beautiful videos for them. And of course, we don't want it to touch down in a perhaps a residential area where it could be hazardous, or even in the middle of the city where it could be hazardous. So all of these have to be taken into account. So what we do like is we always have our vessels come down in nice open fields, and they're easy for our team to go and collect. So as you see on the imagery that I've shown you, you have the balloon and the flight train, and then you have the scatter vessel at the top. The balloon will have burst, but it stays attached to the flight train. Everything is collected after every single launch. There is no space scattering or littering from anything that we do. And ultimately, the ashes do make their way back down towards the ground after months and months of traveling, maybe years. And they make their way back down towards the ground, and they begin that cycle of life again as they touch down. So in terms of the vessel, we collect everything. We reuse, recycle, or dispose of as necessary. I hope that answered your question, Tina.
Yes. So obviously you collect the vessel because you need the footage, and you make the video for the family, which sounds absolutely lovely. But they don't actually get the vessel.
Not
back.
the vessel, but they will receive the image that was on the
yeah.
flight.
Yeah,
That's right.
okay.
So
Yeah,
we will,
sure.
so it's the actual image that went to space. We will remove that, and we frame that, engrave the frame, and we package that and return it to the family, along with a USB that houses all of the digital deliverables that we provide. And we also provide a printed copy of the moment of the scatter at the top of the flight, as well as a digital copy as well. So there's lots of items there that are provided to the family.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely. Thank you, Tina.
Yeah, I do. Well, this is more for Shelley, I guess. So this is a conversation. So during the conversation with the family, when they're talking about what their loved one liked. We as celebrants could mention, have you heard of Aurora Flights?
Yeah.
Are there any, well, I guess we could go on your website and download any stuff and sort of have that to sort of hand out.
Absolutely. I mean, I can provide Shelley with that. We have a digital brochure that we can provide that you can send on to clients. And if you like, I do have what we call an agent's handbook, which is a guide on frequently asked questions. So if somebody does ask a question and you're not sure how to respond without having to frantically go onto our website to find the answers, which you can find the answers there. It's a very comprehensive website. They do work in tandem. I can send you that as well if you'd like. That might be helpful for your initial conversations. But, you know, I absolutely understand that it can be a bit of a meal of a conversation. I do understand that with the technology and the engineering involved. I know I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable having this conversation. So we are there for you as a backup. If you do feel that you want me to join on a call with you and your families, and we can all have a discussion together if that would be helpful.
I think, Tina, in terms of when we're visiting families and arranging memorials, funerals, etc., for some families, this would be a beautiful thing that they might not even know about. So it's certainly not something that we're expecting you to push or to sell, or it's just so that you have the knowledge that if you came across a family that this was the perfect way for their loved one to have their final journey, that you could just signpost really them towards it. Okay, thank you. Anybody else got any questions about Aurora Flights? Lisa?
I'm just interested to know that is there anyone else doing this in the world, or is it just you?
We are the only company in the world that scatters the full complement of ash.
Right.
There are other companies in America that will scatter. Well, they don't scatter. They send a teeny tiny capsule with 1 gram or 5 grams of ash they do go into deeper space and then they come back down. But of course, then you have the additional journey of finding other memorialization and cost for the rest of the ash. But the sector is huge, so we can exist in the same space. But we have found we don't typically launch beyond 50 kilometers into the stratosphere. We don't need to go any higher. We're going any further into deep space does not allow two things. It doesn't allow us an increase in the incredible imagery that we achieve from those altitudes. It's beautiful, beautifully clear and serene, striking and very impactful imagery that we can achieve from there is stunning. Any higher would incur greater cost, and that would be a cost that we obviously would not want to have to pass on to our families. So there are many reasons why we decide that we don't need to go any higher. But of course, the full complement of ash is quite heavy. And again, that would increase costs further. But we feel that it's not necessary because we're able to offer some incredible imagery with the altitudes that we attain.
What would happen if something went wrong because of weather or something? Do you then offer a refund? Because you obviously can't get those ashes back.
I mean, it sounds silly to say, but I mean, Sent into Space was founded in 2011, and it's done thousands and thousands of flights. That's more flights than any aerospace company in the world, purely because we're working in the region of near space. We are near space flight experts. We don't have problems with our flights purely because of what I've told you. We have double, triple checking systems in place all the time. The vessel, if for any reason, the only thing that potentially it could hit would be very volatile stratospheric conditions. What would be the issue there? Well, it isn't an issue. The only thing that would happen is if the vessel, because I've said it's a very intelligent vessel, it knows where it is. It knows where it is in space. It knows because of the GPS systems on board. It knows which altitude it reaches. It's all predetermined and pre-decided that the doors will open at a predetermined altitude. If it hits weather that is very, very volatile, it will shut down and will not release the ashes, purely and simply because it wants to be able to create a beautiful scatter. And if the weather is really, really not favorable, we don't want it to, you know, not provide a beautiful scatter for the family and them to be able to see that. So what happens is the system's locked down, it comes back down to the ground again, and we relaunch because the ashes are safe in the capsule. There isn't anything that can go wrong. That the capsule, that because we already know where the launch craft is going to land before we release, again, there's no issue there. So all of these issues, well, they're not issues at all.
And my last question is around you talked about aviation law and things like that. Have you had to I mean, actually I know it's scattering is a beautiful thing, but actually you're chucking someone's ashes out into the atmosphere. It's going to rain down on other people. Some people might be really grossed out by that, or it's littering, I suppose, fly tipping in space. So have you had to overcome any barriers in achieving what you want to do?
Well, no, and it's interesting because it's not the first time I've heard that. But because of the altitudes in which the scatter takes place, and because the stratospheric wind sweeps the ashes and the particulates become disparate and separated so quickly, they travel and travel and travel, and once they, maybe after a year or two, once they are coming back down towards the ground, they're invisible to the naked eye. It's not like they're just launching it from a couple of kilometers where they would then maybe still find their way back down in maybe a small grouping. That's not what happens. So it's never an issue. It's not something that we have been confronted by, purely and simply for that reason. The ashes, and we're not launching enough because nobody else does it. It's only us. There's nobody else scattering the ashes. And the vast expanse of space and the particulates ultimately come back down to the ground. As we know, the ash particulates, they vary in size. Some of the lighter particulates may travel further for longer. Some of the heavier particulates may come down towards the ground sooner, and they rejoin the ground and then begin the cycle of life, you know, they're embedded into the earth, and they begin their rejoining of the cycle of life. So, but again, by that point, they're invisible to the naked eye.
Great.
Very interesting questions. Yes, thank you.
I love that question. Now, if anything falls on you when you're walking out, don't just presume it's rain or an acorn or something. It might be somebody's family member.
Raining men, as the weather girl said.
Yeah, quite literally raining men. It could be. Lisa. Oh, has anybody got any other questions before we let Samantha go? Anything else anybody got, or anything for me in terms of questions for me about how we incorporate this? No questions. Well, I'd like to say thank you on our behalf, Samantha, for your presentation and for sharing your knowledge with us. I have recorded this so other members can watch it that haven't been able to join us tonight. We've got your details. I've also got your details. So if anybody wants anything, and if Samantha, you send over those links that you were mentioning, I can share that out as well and put that out there. But yeah, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. If any questions do come to anybody in the meantime, then please do let me know. But I will go ahead and get the brochure and the agent's handbook across to you, so that can be an aid for you as and when. But please don't be strangers. We are here to aid and guide you and support you in any way we can. And thank you for all the wonderful work that you guys do. It is appreciated. And I wish you all the best.